Good evening, everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Efren Afante. It is 8 o'clock, and we've got an 8 o'clock update from the National Hurricane Center. Now, Idalia is still a tropical storm. The latest information we got right now, 65-mile-an-hour winds. It's still a strong tropical storm, gusting to 85. It's still moving relatively quickly to the northeast at about 21 miles an hour. Current position puts it about 60 miles straight due west of Charleston. And here's the position right now. So it's a little bit, if you want to triangulate it between Charleston, Somerville, put them together, and that's where Idalia is. It is moving very quickly, but you could see there is still a lot of rainfall that's coming along with it. Now, all indications still, although it is 8 o'clock, the National Hurricane Center has a trajectory that is going to continue right along the coastline of South Carolina, through the low country, and then somewhere along the Grand Strand still by early tomorrow morning with 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Regardless of the cone of uncertainty, a lot of the trajectories already show that at some point tomorrow morning, I'm still not sure if it's going to be before or after daybreak, but around that time, it'll finally squirt out back into the Atlantic. That really could be anywhere in Horry County. It could be as close to possibly even in Georgetown by Ondal, or as far north as North Myrtle Beach. But again, it's on its way out by tomorrow. Here's the latest information that we have that's going on that a little bit of is a concern. There's still a lot of rainfall. This is over the last 4 hours. And you can see not only is there a lot of rainfall, but it's covering a good swath of South Carolina. As far as the upstate, they've had rain, but nowhere near as the amount as the rest of the Palmetto State. A little bit of lighter rain now is falling in areas of far western Fairfield, Newberry, and Saluda counties, as far as far Edgefield and McCormick counties. But see a lot of thunderstorm activity moving through Orangeburg, Clarendon, now getting into Kingstree, as well as into portions of Dillon, Marion County. But you can see all the yellow. There's still a lot of heavy rainfall, torrential rainfall, especially in Clarendon and eastern Orangeburg County, as this entire complex continues to move. The very good news is that it's moving very quickly. But regardless, if you recall, the moderate risk covered pretty much all of South Carolina, especially for the Midlands. Now it covers a good portion of the Midlands, well, in the coastal low country, more so the central Savannah River area, but definitely the Eastern PD and the Grand Strand. Still in anticipation that we could see a little bit more rainfall, especially over the next 2 to 4 hours in portions of the Midlands, and possibly 4 to 6 hours for the Grand Strand and into areas around the PD. Now, this is just radar estimations, but unfortunately, it's impressive. When you get to areas along I-95 from, say, the Midlands, starting out in extreme eastern Lee County, Sumter County, and then going all the way down to the split of 26 and 95, many areas have received anywhere from 3.5 to 5 inches of rainfall. When you get to the areas at the crossroads of 26 and 95 and go across from there, say everything along and south of the Neces Highway into Bamberg, Barnwell, Allendale, Jasper County, you're looking at anywhere from 3 to 4 to 5 inches of rainfall. And you can see from the color that the trajectory of the heaviest rainfall has been pretty much right along the coastal inland, far southeastern Midlands, and into the coastal Grand Strand. A lot of the predictions indicated this, and it's really been spot on. Unfortunately, the rain hasn't ended yet. We still have a flood watch in effect for pretty much all of South Carolina until 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, although I'll show you where the rain will finally end. Get a little bit closer to home. Other than that thunderstorm activity that we'll get to in a minute, there is still a flood warning in effect that this covers portions of extreme southwestern Clarendon County, pretty much from St. Paul's to Lake Marion, all the way to the Wateree River. In Calhoun County, it's extreme southern part. So say from Lone Star all the way over to just south of Burke Road, all of that points south, and then Orangeburg, eastern Orangeburg, all of it, central Orangeburg, all of it, and then pretty much right along the Neces Highway until you get to about Norway. This entire area is under a flood warning. With the amount of heavy rainfall, again, we saw that they got, in fact, I'll go back, you were talking about anywhere from conservatively 4, maybe 5 inches of rainfall. All that rainfall in that area has prompted the flood warning. So this will continue until 9:30 tonight. Those showers and those thunderstorms that are in right over Lake Marion, north of Lake Marion, towards maybe south of Somerton, these are going to be embedded thunderstorms that will have torrential rainfall and probably very windy conditions. You're talking in the tune of maybe 35 to 45 mile an hour wind gusts associated with that storm complex that's coming through. In addition, this little area of western Orangeburg County, from central to western, is under a flood advisory at least for another 6-7 minutes with the heavy rainfall that's already occurred. But you can see the rain has let up for now, at least in 4 western portions of Orangeburg County. Then we have this early advisory. This covers this covers Lexington, I'm wrong side, Lexington, Richland, Aiken, Saluda, as well as Edgefield counties. This entire area is under a flood advisory for at least another 38-39 minutes with the amount of heavy rainfall that's already come down, even though the rain is starting to let up. And then we've got the one that is for the northeast that covers Kershaw, Sumter, Lee, as well as eastern lower Richland and the northern half of Clarendon County. That flood advisory goes until 8:45. But with the amount of heavy rainfall that's going through right now, especially in northern Manning and in central Sumter, we may have this either extended or turn into a flood warning. So keep in mind that it may say advisory. Bottom line, there's a ton of rainfall already come down and there's more to come through. Now you can see where there's still a lot of areas in the Midlands that is dealing with a lot of heavy rainfall. It is noticeably clearing up though in the western, northwestern portions of our viewing area, but there's still a lot of rain and there's still a lot of wind. Tropical storm warnings still continue for Kershaw, Lee, Sumter, Richland, Lexington, Orangeburg, and Aiken counties, as well as the rest of South Carolina for the Grand Strand all the way down to the low country until 8 o'clock tonight. I want you to see the velocities right now. Coming out of the Columbia area, we have winds right now. These are going to be wind gusts at about 40 miles an hour in Fairfield County. In Lee County, about 40. In Lexington, about 35 miles an hour. Look at the wind gusts possible in far western Orangeburg County, 70 miles an hour, and then right down by Branchville, maybe 40 miles an hour. So these are best estimates of the winds that are occurring a little higher altitude, but nevertheless, it's still windy in many areas. Out to the Grand Strand, not so much bad when you get up to Dillon County, but when you get into areas of Florence, as well as in Horry County, you're still talking about 30 to 50 plus mile an hour wind gusts that are associated as Idalia moves through. Low country, very, very windy. You think it's windy in Orangeburg, it gets even windier when you go south of that into Bamberg, as well as in Carlton and Dorchester County, where especially coastal inland, you're dealing with conservatively 70 plus mile an hour wind gusts as Idalia makes its way through. Now, we've had storm reports already, particularly the tornado ones. You saw the video if you were watching Friends at 5, 6, or 7 today that we had a report of a car, and we saw it in Goose Creek where the car was picked up on the roadway, spun around, flipped around. They haven't confirmed it as a tornado yet. They think that it may have been a weak tornado, but if you've seen the video, that car spun around on its front hood for a good couple revolutions. And there's still a tornado watch, at least for the portions of the Grand Strand. The good news is that we were never under a tornado watch. We never got a tornado, and at least now the tornado watch in the low country is dropped off. But the rainfall still continues, and all of that rainfall, notice the bulk of it is still in the southeastern Midlands, and as it moves up, it's going to be covering the eastern half of the Midlands. So all of this is going to be moving up to the north, even though the whole complex is moving to the northeast. And the winds, again, we have very strong winds still associated with it, especially on the western side of where Idalia is, which covers our areas of Orangeburg County. So these windy conditions are going to continue for Orangeburg, Calhoun, Clarendon County, and possibly into Sumter and lower Richland counties. The bottom line is this. This rainfall is going to continue for the next several hours. The good news is that by the time we get to about midnight, it starts tapering off. Outside feeder bands are still going to be collected through the Midlands, but by the time we get into tomorrow morning, before daybreak, the rain's done, mostly cloudy, by the time we get into the early to late afternoon, a lot of us are going to see more sunshine. The good news is that we'll finally get a break from this. The rain will be done and the temperatures will be cooling off, but there's still going to be a lot of water that is left on the roadways, especially when we're looking at a collection of anywhere from, on the low end, 1 to as high as 2.5 inches of rainfall along and on both sides of I-95 when the rain finally is out of here by tomorrow morning. Bottom line is this: Idalia is still a tropical storm. It's still moving through the Palmetto State, and we still have a lot of rainfall and windy conditions to go through. But the good news is that the heaviest rainfall will start tapering off by midnight, and by the time we wake up tomorrow, if you're waking up by daybreak, you won't see rain. You might not see any sunshine, but at least it'll be drier with more sunshine into tomorrow afternoon. We will have an update on everything that's been going on right here in the Midlands as far as the impacts from Idalia when you join us for News 19 at 11 later on tonight. Until then, I'm Chief Meteorologist Efren Afante. Say weather aware and be safe.